If you can hear the wind whistling while I'm talking to you in my dulcet brummy tones, and the sounds of seagulls and the clinking of cables on metal and creaking of ropes, then you will recognise that I am bringing these podcasts to you from a boat somewhere on the south coast. And that's because as some people enjoy playing golf, some enjoy riding motorbikes. I enjoy boating and fishing, and I relax and chill out. And as I say, just sharing some of this food for thought with you is brought to you whilst I am afloat. And that's just explaining some of the background to you. I hope you find it adds a little bit to the atmosphere as I'm talking to you. And if I get interrupted by seagulls, then I apologise in advance. But I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hi, Steve Cooper here with the Rank Success podcast, and I'm just going to start today by talking about where I started in terms of supporting people going for police promotion. And it was quite a long time ago. I'd got qualified myself. I was certainly qualified to sergeant, and I was on a forced crime squad, and a colleague of mine asked me would I spend a bit of time with him, just sitting down and helping him to understand his promotion application form. So he got qualified, and he wanted to get his application sorted and try and get together some evidence to support the case for him being considered for promotion to sergeant. And to do that, he had to get a competency application through. And we both sat down over a cup of coffee and looked through it. And I remember the comments he made. What the hell's all this about, Steve? Where do I even start to begin with this? I was quite inspired by it, having read through the guidance, the instructions, and I thought, well, I'm qualified too. I'm going to have a go myself, and I'll try and help my friend through trying to make my way through the process myself. And to cut a long story short, he got through to a promotion board, and I didn't. So I was a bit bemused by that, a bit confused, a bit, I sat back and reflected, went away and licked my wounds and wondered what all that was about. And it was quite a while before I tried again. I was enjoying the job, enjoying the role. But that was my first experience, if you like, my first run-in with a promotion process and an application. And I was left no wiser afterwards, no wiser really, as to what I did right, what I did wrong. It was just a case of your promotion application has been unsuccessful on this occasion. And to a certain extent, not a lot has changed when people start going for promotion in the police service. How do I know that? Well, because I speak with them all the time. And I get phone calls, emails, texts, mainly because I make myself accessible, because I know that just a short conversation can sometimes unravel a whole lot of instructions or guidance, because different forces have different processes in place at different times for different ranks, and yet officers only really experience their own forces process at that particular time. So one of the forces that I've worked with officers is the Metropolitan Police, and over the last few years they've had a number of promotion frameworks, which is the set of rules and guidance and behaviours by which you get assessed in a promotion process. And they've had about 3 or 4 in the last few years. So the Metropolitan Leadership Framework, the Metropolitan Performance Framework, and there they've got the Competency and Values Framework, which most forces have. And I think back to that first occasion, and I can't really remember what the framework was. I think it was the Integrated Competency Framework, which is what they used to use. Anyway, it matters not. There are a load of different frameworks, and I will be doing some more podcasts in relation to those. And I actually do cover them in quite a lot of detail in my promotion downloadable digital toolkits for sergeants, inspectors, and chief inspectors, and also in my promotion video masterclass. So if you want to find everything all packaged together in one neat place, then have a think about acquiring those resources to help you. So I'm assuming and presuming, something I would never normally do as a former detective, but I think it's fairly safe to assume and presume that you're listening to this because you've made a decision, you've come to the conclusion, or you've arrived at a point in your career where you think you've got what it takes to lead other people, and you think you've got the potential to do that, and you may even have gone as far as to prove that to yourself and make that commitment by getting qualified, passing the sergeant's or inspector's exam, and you may be at various different points in your career, but I'm assuming and presuming that you're listening to this for the value that you may derive from it to help you on your journey to promotion. So that's what these podcasts are about, is in no particular order, but it's me just sharing some musings, some thoughts, some previous experiences to see what you can get from it by listening to it, whether you're driving to work, commuting in on the train, or just sat there relaxing in your living room trying to get your thoughts together for a promotion process. So I'll start by saying, of all the processes that I've kind of been involved in as a coach, as a mentor, there is no perfect system. It's like the Holy Grail. Everyone's trying to find one, and you don't have to look far for promotion amongst promotion candidates. Talented cops, operational cops, committed cops, very good at their job, but there's a lot of whinging, whining, moaning and complaining that goes on in relation to promotion processes. And sometimes I just sit back and think about, well, just the sheer level of emotion, the stress, the energy, the time, the distraction that's unnecessary, rather than just committing and getting on with it. As Einstein said, learn the rules and play them better than anybody else on the day. You don't have to like that to understand that that's the process. There's lots of things in life you don't have to like. You just got to lump it and get on with it. And sometimes promotion processes are very much along that kind of theme. Now, in some forces people do whinge and whine and moan and complain so much that, chief constables do listen to them, forces do listen to them, and then they change the process. So in some forces you don't have to have a promotion application anymore. There's such a cacophony kicked up about it. They'll even involve the Federation in saying, look, we don't think this is fair, and we don't think it's appropriate, and we don't think it's relevant. And you know what? It's really demotivating to have to do it, because we're busy cops, and this window of opportunity opens up, and we have to try and get evidence or examples in against a promotion framework at short notice in order just to get through. And I sit back and I listen to that and think, well, it doesn't really matter what the process is in place in forces. There will be a process, and forces actually do listen to that moaning, that complaining. And some forces have removed the promotion application process. Some forces have removed an interview. So it's very much the case that people often say the goalposts move with promotion selection processes, and they do, sometimes quite considerably. So if you look at perhaps Greater Manchester, they've experimented with, I don't know whether they're still doing it, but they've experimented with like a Dragon's Den type promotion process, because to try and get away from or to comply with allegations of unfairness, observations of unfairness in the system. Candidates go in and face a promotion board in 6 different rooms, one question in each room as they go through. You're also going to find a mix and match of presentations, briefings, psychometric exercises. Very much a case of, if you whinge, whine, moan and complain enough, the forces will listen to you, but be very, very careful what you wish for, because guess what? The new processes nobody likes anymore either, and they actually start asking exactly the same questions. How are these assessment tests, these psychometric tests, how are they relevant to what we're doing? How are these briefing or assessment centres relevant to what we're doing as operational cops? The point being is, I'm not going to labour it. You need to kind of have that conversation with yourself. If you don't think it's the right system, get promoted and try and change the system from within. But as I say, there isn't a perfect process. But I'm assuming, as I've said, you're listening to this for the value you're going to get out of it, but I'm just sharing some of my reflections, in terms of what I hear across lots and lots of different forces. So, pessimists calculate the odds, optimists believe they can overcome them, and that's a quote by Ted Koppel. I quite like quotes. I find them motivational, inspirational, and if you can't find a quote somewhere from someone anytime throughout history to inspire and motivate you to get out of bed, or at least, get on with the promotion process, then go find the quote first, because you're not going to find any inspiration in the material itself or the processes itself. So that's where I kind of kick in with support and guidance and direction and signposting. And this podcast is just a different way of me doing that. And so I don't have to stick to any structures as such. I can just talk about really the first thing that comes into my head. So pessimists calculate the odds, optimists believe they can overcome them. I am naturally an optimist, but I do understand there are lots of pessimists about, and they may well be right. But ultimately, in the end, I think optimists have a better journey through life. So in terms of promotion, let's kind of start talking about it. It's been said that the failure rate for promotion candidates is 75%. 75%. Now, it's been said, and I've seen that in a book written by, I can't remember the name of the chief superintendent, a few years ago now, perhaps 20 years ago. But same kind of thing, same kind of proportion, 75% in his experience of sitting on forced promotion boards, of people that just don't get through. And the main reason for that is simple, a lack of preparation. And, I know that lots of people don't know how to prepare. The answer sometimes to that is it doesn't take much to find out. But I do understand that, not everybody has access to resources, not everybody has the same budget, not everybody learns the same way. And, it is perfectly possible for some of those promotion processes to discriminate against people who need a little bit more time, who need things communicated better. And forces are, certainly in this age now, are really thinking about how they can do that. So some forces give you the questions in writing before a promotion board. Others will give you extra time if you need it. But again, you've got to kind of make the case for yourself. And forces are learning very slowly, but they're learning. So this failure rate of 75%, and the main reason being the lack of preparation, is quite understandable really, because varying levels of confusion exist about how to prepare, and it's usually combined with the absence of meaningful support. So I know, and I speak with people, I've spoken to someone recently who said they've asked their supervisor for help and their supervisor was too busy. And he said, and do you know the honest thing, my supervisor is too busy. I see how hard the individual works every day. I know how committed they are to the organisation. And, trying to find support is something that, again, is age old. Unless you find, there are people in organisations, and there are mentors, and there are coaches in policing, and there are people who will share their time, and there are people who will give tips and guidance. In amongst those are people who give bad advice, stuff that can really wrong foot you at a very early stage. And I know people who have actually shown their promotion examples to their inspectors, chief inspectors and superintendents, and they've been told, well, that looks really good evidence, don't change a thing, that should go through without touching the sides. And not only does it not go through without touching the sides, it crashes and burns. It's a particularly bad example, or one that hasn't kind of maximised the potential of the evidence within it, aligned to the guidance for assessment that assessors will have. So the assessors should assess it fairly, look at the descriptors for the competency, whichever framework's in play, and have a look at it and go, yes, this reflects those competencies and also the values that are current. And again, we all got values in policing: integrity, honesty, fairness, respect. But you go to Met, they've got additional ones. If you go to Police Scotland, they've got additional ones. So spending some time to slow things down, will help you to start thinking through and reflecting on some of this, some of these concepts and some of this preparation. Now, many officers succeed on their second or third or subsequent attempts, and that's real motivation for you. That's commitment, that's resilience. Because, the reality is, for some people, it is confusing. They can't find the information to prepare, so they give it their best shot. And that's cops for you. I want to have a go first. Let's do it. When they come to me after 8, 9, 10, 12, and that's the most, 12 years of trying to get through, I look at that and I think, well, and then they come and they kind of download a digital toolkit, or they attend a police promotion masterclass that I run, or download a video masterclass and sit at home, the path is laid out. There's lots of tips and guidance and signposts and direction and resources in them to completely transform somebody's preparation and give them a kit ready so they can get match fit as quickly as possible. And boy, do some of them wish, and you'll see that on some of my testimonials on my site. Some of them really wish they had come a lot earlier, and you'll see people saying, look, I should have done this 2 years ago. And some people are, really, really frustrated and upset and sometimes angry at themselves, but they can't really do much about the past. But if you're listening to this, you can actually get your preparation and your ducks in a row, if you like, before you go for a promotion process, and you can do that in your own time. So try and get it done first time. My approach is always to encourage candidates to aim to come first in the forced promotion selection process. Why would you aim anywhere else? What kind of mindset or mentality is it that you're not aiming to come first on the force boards for Sergeant, Inspector, Chief Inspector? It's a mindset. There is no other mindset. So you will notice, again, on my testimonials, lots and lots and lots of people who got through first time. Why? Because it's a mindset from the outset. So there are also a lot of people who've come to me after 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts, and just that sheer frustration. I've got to go to somebody must know how to get through this. And often I'll just ask a couple of questions. I'm a qualified coach. I'm qualified as an executive coach and leadership mentor with the Institute of Leadership and Management. And so I've done the theory, but I actually love the practical side of coaching with cops, because coaching is very much around asking questions to expose gaps and to identify gaps that can be filled very quickly. And some of those I can assess using questions, somebody's match fitness in probably 10 minutes, if less, 5 minutes, just by a couple of questions and listening to the responses. And it's quite clear that they're not connected with the role that they're going for, the responsibilities, the functions, the dimensions. They're not connected with what they will do when they get given those stripes or those pips, or the extra pip if you go for Chief Inspector. And so there's this disconnect there. So, you can focus on what you want to achieve, but nobody's going to give it to you. You've got to go out and try and grab it, take it, maximise your own potential in a promotion selection process. So this is very much around taking massive action from now, if you're listening to this for the first time, to channel your motivation and to consider any options to aid your momentum. And in doing that, your chances of success are likely to be significantly enhanced. So, first and foremost, and I like some of the literature that I've seen in the Metropolitan Police, certainly through all the frameworks I've looked through, because they've used, as you can imagine, lots of different guidance for candidates and instructions for candidates. And I quite like it because it's pretty straightforward. If you're going for promotion, we expect you to have energy, drive, motivation, enthusiasm, focus, resilience. And if you haven't got it, don't bother going for promotion. Now, I'm not sure it's not exactly those words, but it's that message. There's no way of escaping that ethos, and I'm firmly on that side of the equation, if you like, because it's not fair to people that you seek to lead if you haven't got the required energy and drive and motivation, enthusiasm and focus and resilience. And even looking at all of those things, they're not enough. They're not enough. You've still got to learn the process. You've still got to maximise and be the best you can be on the day. So why would you even approach a process? And many people do, winging it. I winged a couple of promotion boards as a sergeant, and it didn't do me any good. But I couldn't find help. I couldn't find support. And I winged it, and it didn't work for me. But I'll tell you what I did do. I learned, and some people have to experience a board and a failure, or if you like, or a setback, or being unsuccessful, in order to smash it next time. And that's a common occurrence as well. So having that basic kind of human kit of energy and drive and motivation and focus and enthusiasm is a start. Promotion's not, winning promotion or earning promotion. It's not easy. It's hard. If it was easy, a lot more people would be going for it, certainly from the money perspective, because the pay is worthwhile, and that may be one of your motivations. But you may also have made, a decision to actively progress your career through the ranks, to get different perspectives in different roles, different jobs, different specialisms, or just to progress your career through the ranks, aiming for high rank, as some people do. And alongside all of that, you're going to be talking about your continuous professional, personal development to keep you match fit and to keep you ready to go forward in further promotion processes, but more importantly, to help to learn, to support other people, develop others as you go through. So, just making a point here, achieving promotion is never an accident. It's the result of high intention and sincere effort, an intelligent direction and skillful execution on the day, and an ability and an attitude to see obstacles as opportunities. And some people don't. They just see a process as an obstacle. And it's a completely different mindset when you see it as an opportunity or as an open goal. So as Abraham Lincoln said, determine that a thing can and shall be done, and then we shall find the way. So there's a whole attitude, a whole mindset to bring to bear if you decide to go for promotion. And as I've said, if you need a quantum leap forward right now, today, you can download the digital toolkit and get on with it. And or over a period of time, if you're not quite ready yet for that, you can just listen to podcasts like this, download some of my free guides, free videos, YouTube videos, which supplement and complement this. But these podcasts are a little bit more for me to kind of be a little bit more wide ranging, and you may say, "Oh, you're bouncing all over the place, Steve," and I'll say, "Well, yeah, good. I'm glad I am." Because I think it just helps me learn. So it's one of the points that I would say, in helping other people to be successful in promotions. And I've honestly now almost lost count of how many people have been successful. Not everybody gives me a testimonial. Some are very, very pleased to do so. The whole issue with coaching, and certainly the services I offer, are that they're completely confidential. Unless you're going to admit a murder to me, and then I might have to, I'll definitely have to go and tell the authorities. But generally, other than kind of criminal action, coaching, mentoring, and helping people in the way I do and the services I provide is confidential. And I think I know that's a big seller with people, because people that say, "Oh, I don't care, Steve, I don't mind who knows I've been successful on my promotion board," but I never mention individual forces, and I never mention second names. And occasionally, where someone absolutely comes first on a board, and it's a very small pool of people in a board that have got through, I'll also check with people whether they'd like me to use a pseudonym for them, because they're happy to let me have a testimonial, but they'd like the pseudonym to be there, only because again, it's another kind of weird thing around promotions. Some people don't want anybody knowing they've had any help, so while some people are happy to give testimonials, others don't want their name put alongside it. They're happy to use the feedback and the comments, and they're very happy. And then others, and this is a weird thing that I got used to over the last kind of 6 years since I retired and started this business. Some people will come and have coaching, come on a masterclass, and they're successful. And I hear that they're successful because chances are I'm coaching other people on that process, or other people have attended a masterclass in that process. And when they're successful, it's almost like they want to write any help or support they've ever had out of the process, out of memory. And that's okay as well, because everybody's different. And, for me, it's very much around delivering the service, helping people to pass promotion boards, and to get match fit to do so, and then for me to reflect on it and say, well, it's lovely to have evidence and to have feedback and comments about how they experience those services. However, I do understand that not everybody wants to, and because I offer confidential services and I stick to it, then it's there for you to kind of know and to understand, because it's a key principle of good coaching practice. So before I kind of move on, there's a cliche around, to sum this part up. Some people dream of success and other people wake up and work hard for it. And, is that a cliche? It's certainly a saying. People dream of success and others wake up and work for it. But actually, I tend to agree with that. You can dream about promotion all you like, and a lot of people take a lot of work and make a lot of work for themselves, commit to a lot of work, and they get qualified. They spend months away from the family, the friends, the loved ones in their spare time around shifts and other commitments to to pass the exam, to get qualified, and then they continue dreaming about promotion, and there's no action, there's no plan, there's no momentum after that. And I understand that as well. It's because you've spent that time and you've got to give a bit of payback to your family, because you've been away, you've been committed, you may have been a bit distant from them, but you've earned that great result and you're now qualified. And a lot of people, in my experience, a lot of qualified cops take a big breather and they take a well-earned rest, and sometimes that rest turns into a couple of years, because they wanted to get promoted, they wanted to get qualified, they know they've got perhaps 5 years on the ticket before they cash it in. But some people, that 2 years turns into 3, and then they start thinking, well, actually I better cash that ticket in and go for a promotion process. And if you are unsuccessful on the first one, then again, it's not uncommon that I get people coming to me saying, Steve, this is my last chance, I need to pass this. And I'm always happy to help. I've got all the services there, so people can take action straight away. They don't need to dream about it. They can take action, download a digital toolkit, download a masterclass, and crack on straight away there and then. So when they're saying I've got to pass, I'm just reflecting back to you the fact that 5 years on your promotion qualification can get, by the time you've done 2 years on a specialist unit or you've consolidated your experience, it can actually be a double-edged sword. So having some momentum, continuing some momentum, certainly through trying to kind of think about how you're performing every day in line with the CVF, the Competency and Values Framework, is a good mindset. So years ago people used to do Osprey, and one of the good ways of practicing with that was to come in every day and pretend you're in a scenario, to see how you can kind of align your evidence and get used to thinking correctly around how you're going to present it, talk about it on a promotion board. So whatever you're doing, if you're qualified and you're listening to this, just have a recap, have a reflect. Where are you on your journey? Are you in control, or have you kind of let it lapse? Because you can start building momentum very, very quickly. And although I say, some people take 7, 8, 9 months to prepare ahead of a promotion board, on the other side of the coin, I do get people come to me at the last minute and say, okay, I've got my last chance, I've been really busy, I've been working on this project, this operation, I haven't been able to do it, but I really want to go for it, how can you help me? And then we might need to talk about how you adjust that approach, and that can be done as well. Okay, in short, really, it's about understanding that there's no guarantees in the process, and there are no guarantees in the process. Nobody can offer you a guarantee when it comes to promotion. The nearest thing that you can get to a guarantee is to make that commitment to yourself, to really apply yourself to preparing for the process, so understanding the process, starting to familiarise yourself with the Competency and Values Framework or your force framework. Most forces use the CVF. And starting to look at your evidence alongside each competency. Have you got it? Because you haven't got it, you can't go forward into the next step of the process. And in some forces where they don't have promotion applications, some people do exactly that. They walk straight into a promotion board without having thought through, reflected, or written down their evidence or examples. They've never been made tangible, so not written down or anything. And then they walk in and say the first thing that comes into their head or what they've been reading recently. It's not targeted, it's not focused, and it's not maximising potential. So just understanding there are no guarantees. Make a bet on your future and then throw everything you've got into it. And that's a great attitude to start promotion and preparing. And if you do that, generally, if you take that kind of attitude, you're more likely to prevail in the process. Okay, so wherever you are on your promotion journey, I wish you all the very best, and thank you for listening, and I shall be back with another podcast soon.